Hey everyone, and welcome to Top Think. Today we're going to learn about 10 subtle habits of a high-status man. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Radiating acceptance. A high-status man doesn't make other people feel inferior. He doesn't rub his success in other people's faces, nor does he brag about his many accomplishments. Instead, he's the most likable and desirable person in the room because he raises everyone else up to his level. A high-status man finds subtle ways to not only support himself but also support the people around him. He gives confidence to friends and strangers alike. He makes the people in his vicinity feel like they're fearless and powerful. And he does all these things by radiating an unparalleled level of acceptance. In other words, a high-status man doesn't judge, criticize, or shame other people. He never attacks someone to make himself feel better, just like he never degrades himself or anyone else. A high-status man genuinely believes that everyone has worth and value, and he finds ways to bring out the strengths of everyone he meets. For instance, a high-status man is an active listener who gives undivided attention every time he meets someone new. He never treats anyone like a waste of his time, and he finds genuine value in each connection he makes. By giving his undivided attention, people feel special and confident. They smile, they laugh, and they proudly talk about their lives because they've found someone willing to care and listen. Now, this may sound easy, but radiating acceptance can be a difficult thing to do. It's tempting to criticize other people, and it often gives you a boost of short-term confidence. But when that confidence fades, you'll realize that real status has nothing to do with rank or power. It's not how superior you feel compared to others, but how accepted you make others feel around you. So be a source of acceptance for each and every individual. Open your mind and actively expand your perspective. If you can genuinely appreciate each person you meet, you'll quickly become the most likable person everywhere you go. Number 2. Taking your time. Many people rush through life, nervously bouncing from one objective to the next. They're not mindful of the people around them, and they don't appreciate their experiences. They're in such a hurry to get where they want to go that they don't learn anything from their journey. Life is full of happy, surprising, and inspiring moments, but you need to slow down and appreciate them. A high-status man slows down the pace of his life. He moves toward his goals at a slow and steady pace. He doesn't rush. He doesn't waste his time, and he always keeps his eyes open because you never know what's going to happen next. This subtle yet significant habit makes high-status people seem wise, worldly, and experienced. You've lived the same number of years, but it feels like they have enough experiences to last multiple lifetimes. The trick is to take your time. Start with small changes to your behavior. Walk a little slower. Hold your head a little higher. Spend a little less time staring at a screen and more time watching the world around you. Be mindful of each step you take and each person you encounter. If you want to be a high-status man, then go where you want to go, but always move at your own pace. Number 3. Lead conversations. When engaging in a conversation, there are subtle techniques that you can use to communicate confidence, curiosity, and a strong sense of self. A high-status man frequently uses one of these techniques to both lead conversations and maintain positions of power in every social setting. Instead of positioning himself as a quiet listener or a passive observer, a high-status man makes small verbal adjustments that assert his status and gently guide the conversation in a positive direction. To most people, this means asking questions, but a high-status man knows a better way to lead a conversation. High-status people commonly turn open-ended questions into more confident statements, which encourage other people to talk without giving away control of the conversation. For example, a high-status man won't ask, "How are you doing today?" Instead, he would express the same idea by making a statement like, "Tell me about what you did today." These two sentences mean the same thing, but they create different conversational dynamics. Asking a question puts you in a passive position, while making a statement makes you seem assertive and powerful. Number 4. Sources of knowledge. A high-status man can talk about almost anything. No matter what subject you're discussing, he has something interesting to say. Over the years, he's gained a broad spectrum of knowledge on a wide variety of topics. He reads books and invests in his education, but the greatest source of knowledge for any high-status man is the world around him. A high-status man knows when to talk and when to listen. He has plenty of knowledge, more than most, but he enters every conversation willing to learn something new. A high-status man seeks new and interesting perspectives that challenge his ideas because he knows that everyone has something meaningful to offer. Number 5. The high-status mantra. A high-status man has problems like everyone else. He faces obstacles, experiences setbacks, and even fails on his path toward success. But what separates a high-status man from everyone else is his perspective on his problems. While most people allow their problems to overwhelm them, a high-status man takes a step back, he looks at his problems from a distance, and he repeats one thing to himself: no matter what happens, it will be all right. It's not exactly a mantra, but it's a phrase to live by. High-status people know that they're bigger than the problems in their lives. They don't allow their problems to intimidate or scare them away. Instead, they confront every challenge with confidence in their abilities. No matter what obstacles he faces, a high-status man is cool, content, and confident. He knows he'll do his best under any circumstances. Even if he loses, he fails, or makes a mistake, a high-status man remembers that everything will be okay. Number 6. Demand attention. You give other people your undivided attention when they talk, so why should you expect anything less? A high-status man doesn't bother talking to people who are distracted, uninterested, or disengaged. He isn't mean or critical of them, but he doesn't waste his time on half-hearted conversations. If someone is barely listening to a word you say, wait until you have their attention, or simply bring the conversation to a close. You don't have to be rude or abrasive, but a high-status man doesn't settle for anything less than he deserves. Number 7. Respectful boundaries. A high-status man doesn't allow other people to break his personal boundaries. He sets clear rules for what he's comfortable with and what he isn't, and he consistently enforces those rules with everyone he meets. For example, you may not like it when new people invade your personal space. So what happens when you come across someone who breaks your boundaries? A high-status man finds a firm yet polite way to let them know what's okay and what isn't. If someone doesn't take you seriously or doesn't listen to your rules, then you don't have to compromise. It's not a matter of control, it's a matter of respect. And high-status men always have the utmost respect for themselves. Number 8. Physical confidence. High-status men use their body language to communicate security and confidence. They're not aggressive, forward, or overly proud. They don't puff out their chests or flex their muscles. Instead, he shows his status by looking comfortable in his own skin. While other people fidget, slouch, and worry about their body language, a high-status man finds a place and position where he can relax and stay calm. He sits up straight and holds his head high, not because he has something to prove, but because he's comfortable with who he is. Number 9. Reserving enthusiasm. Many people try too hard to be friendly and likable. You want other people to enjoy your company, so you try to make them feel good about themselves. You may respond with fake enthusiasm or get excited about things that aren't really that exciting. For example, imagine someone tells you that they work at a bakery. Unless you're extremely passionate about pastries, you don't have to pretend this is the best thing you've ever heard. There's a middle ground between indifference and overenthusiasm, and most information falls somewhere in that realm. As a general rule, a high-status man listens to what people say and responds positively, but he doesn't get overly excited about everything he hears. That way, when he does feel excited or impressed, it actually means something. It's not fake enthusiasm designed to make you seem interested or likable. It's genuine enthusiasm motivated by a real desire to learn more. So if you want to be a high-status man, raise the bar for what's interesting and what's not. If you can, other people will try to engage with you on a deeper level. It's a subtle habit, but reserving your enthusiasm will make your conversation that much more genuine. Number 10. Accept your problems. Do you know people who constantly complain? Every time they open their mouths, they're criticizing someone in their life or wallowing in their misfortunes. A high-status man, on the other hand, doesn't waste time complaining. He may have things to complain about, but he knows that complaining will never solve his problems. So he keeps those problems to himself. He doesn't complain to get attention. He doesn't expect other people to get wrapped up in his issues. Instead of complaining about what went wrong, he concentrates on how to grow and improve. Hey, thank you for watching Top Think, and be sure to subscribe because more incredible content is on the way.